And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. There's lots to talk about this week with President Trump's nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh to serve as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, with the president's visit to Europe and all the dust-up surrounding NATO, and with the congressional testimony of Peter Strzok. That was interesting and entertaining, but we promised you the best 10 books for summer reading, and promises made and promises kept here on the best 60 seconds of your week. To begin with, a couple of books written by friends about which we've already talked, but they're on the top 10 list. First of all, Clowns to the left of me, Jokers to the right. I'm pretty sure there was a song by that title somewhere along the line. This is an anthology of Michael Smerconish's best. It's really well worth the read. Pick it up, and in this case, all of the proceeds go to benefit his favorite charity. Important for you all. Looking back to the 2016 election, in my judgment, there's no better book to explain all of what happened than The Great Revolt: Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping American Politics, because it's not only about what happened in 2016 and the coalition cobbled together by Donald Trump, which took the inside straight across the Northeast corridor, the Rust Belt, to bring him victory in states that hadn't been carried by a Republican in a long time, but the ongoing populist movement, which Selena Zito, its author, predicts is here for still some time to come. Well worth your reading. And here's one you'll like, by our friend Governor Bob Ehrlich. Bet you didn't see this one coming. Obama, Trump, and the End of Washington's Regular Order. Again, an anthology of many of Governor Ehrlich's columns and writings over the course of the past couple of years, describing the rise of Donald Trump, the successful election of him, and the aftermath. You'll want to take a look at it. And as we're talking about presidential politics and presidential elections, I think it's always fun to peel back the curtain just a little bit and take a look at what goes on behind the scenes in every presidential campaign. Much of that's run by advanced man, or advanced women in this case. I was one once upon a time in the early days of advance work, and really have come to appreciate all of the effort that goes into advancing presidential visits and all of the setup of every visual image that we get in the nightly news. Off script by Josh King, a Democrat, by the way, but it really doesn't matter because both teams employ the same tactics. This is a fun read. I think you'd find it really interesting. And if you want to read what, in my judgment, is the best book on presidential campaigns, this might be a surprise for some of my Republican friends. It is The Audacity to Win by David Plouffe, the campaign manager for Barack Obama in his 2008 run for the presidency. It really doesn't get preachy till the very end. It is much more of a summary of what went on in the Obama campaign, not only their strategy, but their tactics, but most important, a great lesson in campaign discipline, something that is so often lost in campaigns from the courthouse to the White House. It's a really good read. I think you'll enjoy it. And he's a Philly guy to boot. We talked about this one a little bit earlier as well. Politics as a noble calling, and particularly today, that's something we ought to all aspire to. This is the memoirs of F. Clifton White, one of the great Republican strategists who masterminded and organized the Goldwater rise in 1964 in his campaign, took a third-party candidate from New York State to the U.S. Senate, James Buckley, and was instrumental in the election of Ronald Reagan as well. A truly great political operative and a really good read. And moving away from, hardcore politics and towards much more useful things in a daily life, here is Better to Best: How to Speak for Extraordinary Results Every Time by David Dempsey. Introduced by Steve Forbes, our old friend. He says even Lincoln would have been impressed. That's a pretty high calling, and it's a great read. It's a how-to book. And it gives you, in my judgment, the best look and insight into how to be a truly great public speaker and communicator. And in my judgment, the ability to speak well from the podium or the platform is the single most important asset for those who aspire to climb the ladder of leadership. So this is a good read. Take a look at it. As is The One Thing. This is really about focus. The subtitle, The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results. And it really is focusing on doing a few things really well. It begins with the old Russian proverb that if you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither. That's really the heart and soul of this book. Well worth taking a look at. And before we get to the final one, The Quintessential, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's been around a long time. It is a modestly subtitled, The Only Book You Need to Lead You to Success. Well, there might be a couple of others along the way, but this certainly is the primordial read. It's been around for a long time. It's helped an awful lot of folks, and it's worth taking to the beach with you. And finally, I have to hold up one that I don't have here because somebody borrowed it from our shelves, David McCullough's The Wright Brothers. Now listen, anything written by David McCullough, one of the great authors and frankly, one of the great people in the United States, is worth reading. 1776, John Adams, Truman, any of those, you'll have a great time reading. But The Wright Brothers, about the American inventors and aviation pioneers, is especially good, and I think you'd really enjoy it. You know, Thomas Jefferson told us, "I simply cannot live without books." I think you get the picture here that we really enjoy them. I think you will as you go to the mountains or head to the shore. Have a good time doing a little reading. And that, for this week, is the best 60-ish seconds.